Ethan Ward had built his empire from steel and stone, yet his heart was nothing but glass, shiny, cold, and breakable. To the world, he was the perfect billionaire, handsome, powerful, and untouchable. But behind the tailored suits and expensive watches was a man who had long forgotten what kindness felt like. That Friday evening, he sat at an exclusive restaurant overlooking the glittering city. He wasn't there for business or pleasure, just another blind date arranged by his well-meaning sister, who insisted he needed someone real. Real. Ethan scoffed at the word. No one in his world was real. They all wanted his name, his money, or his influence. Then she walked in. Her name was Claire. She wore a simple sky blue dress that looked handmade, not from a designer. Her shoes were worn but polished, and her smile carried warmth instead of glamour. Ethan looked her up and down, the way a man judges a painting he never wanted to see. "That's quite a dress," he muttered, raising a brow. Claire paused, clearly catching the insult. "Thank you," she said softly, sitting down. "It's my mother's favorite color." Ethan forced a smile. "Did she pick it out for you?" She smiled faintly. "She can't anymore. She passed away last year." The silence that followed was heavy, but Ethan brushed it aside. "I see. Well, I'm sure she had a good heart. But you know, appearances matter too, especially in my line of life." Claire looked down, stirring her glass of water. "And what line of life is that?" "Judging people before knowing them." Ethan chuckled. "You're bold. I like that. But I'm just being honest. If you want to fit into the kind of world I live in, presentation is everything." For the next half hour, he talked mostly about himself, his companies, his achievements, his travels. Claire listened quietly, her fingers tracing the rim of her glass, her eyes distant. Finally, she interrupted him. "You must be very proud of what you've built." "I am," Ethan replied, leaning back. "Success takes sacrifice. You wouldn't understand unless you've been through it." Claire nodded. "You're right. I probably wouldn't. I only built myself back from losing everything." Ethan tilted his head. "Losing everything?" She smiled faintly. "Yes. My health. My job. My hair." Before Ethan could respond, she reached up and removed her wig. Her scalp was bare, smooth, fragile, but proud. Her eyes met his, steady and unashamed. "I had cancer," she said softly. "It took years to fight. But I survived. So when you said appearances matter, maybe you're right. But they're not everything." For the first time in years, Ethan was speechless. The arrogance in his expression melted away, replaced by something rare, humility. I didn't know," he whispered. "You didn't ask," Claire replied simply. Her calm honesty hit him harder than any insult ever could. The rest of the evening was different. Ethan listened, really listened. She told him about her time in hospitals, the Lonel. The moment she walked into the restaurant, every head turned, but not for the reasons Ethan expected. Her dress wasn't designer, her shoes weren't new, and her hair didn't shimmer under the golden chandeliers like the women he was used to. Instead, she looked simple, graceful in a quiet, almost old-fashioned way. Ethan Ward, one of the richest men in the city, sat at the corner table of the luxurious rooftop restaurant, staring at her with thinly veiled disapproval. He had agreed to this blind date only because his sister had begged him to meet someone different. But this? He hadn't expected it different to look like that. She smiled when she saw him, genuine and warm, completely unfazed by his expensive suit or the way the waiters hovered around him. "You must be Ethan," she said softly, taking a seat. "I'm Claire." He nodded curtly, forcing a polite smile. "Yeah. My sister mentioned you." She glanced at the menu, and he couldn't help but notice her hands, steady, but with small scars near her knuckles. She wasn't trying to hide them. She wasn't trying to impress him. That alone irritated him. "So," Ethan said after a moment, leaning back in his chair. "You made quite an entrance." She laughed, lightly. "Is that a good thing or a bad thing?" He smirked. "Well, it's bold. I don't think I've seen that kind of dress since my mother's college photos." Claire blinked, caught off guard, but her expression didn't falter. Oh, this old thing. I made it myself, she said simply. It's my mom's favorite color. Ethan raised an eyebrow. You made it yourself? He chuckled under his breath. That's admirable. Most people would just buy something appropriate for this kind of place. The words hung in the air like smoke. The waiter approached, and Claire smiled kindly at him, ordering something modest. Ethan noticed how she thanked the waiter by name, even though she'd only just heard it. She was kind. Too kind. After a few awkward minutes of small talk, Ethan sighed. I don't mean to be rude, but I don't think this is going to work. We're just from two very different worlds. Claire nodded slowly, setting down her fork. Her eyes were calm, not angry. You're probably right. But it's strange, isn't it? People always talk about different worlds as if kindness doesn't exist in both. Ethan frowned slightly. Something in her tone unsettled him. Look, Claire, I didn't mean to offend you. I just... But before he could finish, she reached up and gently lifted her wig from her head. The restaurant seemed to fall silent. Underneath was her bare scalp, smooth and fragile under the soft lights. Ethan froze, his words dying in his throat. Claire's voice was steady. I don't usually show this on a first date. But since you're so focused on appearances, I thought I'd give you something real to look at. She placed the wig beside her plate. I had cancer. For 2 years, I fought it while working, while taking care of my little brother, while pretending ever.